Got it. All right. Now I need to make sure, because it always pops up in the craziest places at the craziest times, the audio will just start. I still feel like such a noob with this. But hello. How are ya?
Doing all right.
Excellent. Welcome to Next Level. It's happening right now.
Yeah.
I'm hearing myself. Okay, there we go. Good Lord. Good Lord. Technology, you make me like an old woman. It's so embarrassing. Okay. Welcome to Next Level. Sam and I get here every week to talk about the week's upcoming episode. I host the show. I'm Emily, and Sam produces. So, hi, Sam.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. It is good to see you, and we're finally off Oxenfree, which made me sad, honestly, a little. Each week, I pin the folder, with all the assets, and so then when I move to the next episode, I unpin the last one, and I was like, "Oh, bye, Oxenfree." It was sad, but it's also fun because this is so different, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Super different. It's like almost the opposite.
Yeah, it almost couldn't be more different. I guess
Yeah.
the only thing that could be different is if Oxenfree was like atonal.
Yeah, like a horror game or something like that.
But yeah, it's Disney. This week is Disney. We're going to be talking about Disney Illusion Island, which is a fairly new co-op platformer that came out right around the time that I interviewed the composer, David Housden, who is a friend and of Level and just one of the most cheerful fellows to talk to. I love talking to David. You might know him from Thomas Was Alone, and then he also did Mike Bithel's Next Game volume. So and other projects too, but that's what we've had him on in the past for. So yeah, what did you think of David's music for this amazingly Disney platformer?
he Disneyed it for sure. It's
he Disneyed
out of the park. It's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's super Disney and super
Yeah.
fun and rich and bubbly and also it's got a lot of classic moves, arrangements and melodies and otherwise, and it's just good stuff.
Yeah, it's great. Let's just right off the bat listen to the theme just so you can get there right away into the Disney vibe. And this is music that like I get stuck in I get just like see the image and I hear this. It's such catchy music. But yeah, here's the theme from Disney Illusion Island by David Housden. I love it. I love it so much.
I feel like I could just see Disney animated rolling hills and the sun rising and it's
the best. Yeah. With a nice trill at the top in the piccolo. Yeah, it's the best. It's so great. And honestly, and he talks about this a little bit, how even the theme is the tiniest bit different vibe than the rest of the music because the theme is so free of chromaticism, right? And one of the things he talks about with Disney animation and getting into that sound is how, Steamboat Willie, way back in the 30s, that's Tin Pan Alley, that's, Cole Porter, that's Gershwin, that's that kind of that's ragtime, huge influence. And the early jazz stuff, not the earliest, but influenced by, and that's full of chromaticism, all of those things I just mentioned. And so you hear a lot more of that in the rest of the soundtrack. But Disney also is known, right, for this kind of very diatonic, chromatic free, sweeping grand melodies. So yeah,
Right.
nailed it. Nailed it.
What not to put you on the spot, but do you know what classical composers does that draw from? That cinematic Disney
oh geez,
uplifting major.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. That's why I ask. You know what I mean?
I'm just kidding. I mean, this is the Romantic era, right? So this is literally any Romantic composer that you can think of, pretty much into Brahms. So we're talking like, late 1800s. Okay. So that includes composers in the early years, like, Beethoven influenced those composers, but then you get into things like Schubert in the early years, and things like that. But then later on, you start getting Berlioz, not much later on, but, Berlioz is a big one. And then all the way into the 1900s, I'm skipping so many things like Mahler and Dvorak and whatever, Wagner, geez. But Wagner's late, right? Late 1800s, whatever. So many. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
Wish, and then of course, like what everyone in soundtracks says these days is composers like Holst, right? Known for Big Giant, as you know that piece super well. But then if you're talking like jazz and stuff like that, there's some really weird Beethoven I can play you, which is interesting. But then, obviously more like, jazz is its own thing. There aren't classical composers that made jazz. There were classical composers influenced by jazz, right? Obviously, we know this. That's a whole other thing. But
that all kind of slammed together at the beginning of the 1900s, and
in the most beautiful way, right?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, I got a little rambly and overwhelmed there, but those I just get so excited to talk about it because I don't very much anymore. But it's those sweeping melodies and emotion, right? Because right, Mozart and Beethoven times, which is Beethoven was born in the later 1700s and lived to the 1820s.
Right.
And Mozart died in 1791. So you can kind of see a window of time there when they were both alive, and that was the Age of Enlightenment. So that's all about expressing yourself, right? Because music was not supposed to do that. The Baroque era, yes, but there were periods in time where you weren't allowed to do that. So the Age of Enlightenment was a big deal in that way, and that gave birth to the Romantic era in music and drama and all those things. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's actually really fascinating, I think, and it's pretty clear, just like if you kind of take a wide view of it, you can see just why a lot of our movie music, TV, and then of course onto games was so influenced by that chunk of time, because it was the era right before all that. So it's like it feeds right in.
Well, one thing we've never gotten over as humanity is we definitely like to express ourselves, and music helps us do that, as does other forms of art. But yeah, it's that one has stuck. That one has stuck definitely in the history of music. But I mean, I'm the budding years of the Romantic era I find to be really special, because I love those later Beethoven years and the early, and Schubert died when he was like super young anyway, so early Schubert.
Yeah.
But I love that. It's a very tender time because the piano was just coming into its own too. So, and growing as an instrument, literally gaining more keys and more octaves, and just the ability to have sustain pedals and all these kinds of things. I don't know, actually, I shouldn't talk about sustain pedals. I don't know when the hell that happened. But pianos were developing. And so there's just all this really beautiful, like, tribute. It's like they wrote little tributes to it. And I find it to be quite special. We should talk about that kind of stuff more often.
Yeah.
But let's get back to David Housden.
That's the thing is David, like, drawing upon all this stuff gave us a reason to talk about it, because he's doing stuff right, quote unquote, in terms of pulling those influences properly and arranging it properly and all that kind of stuff. And it and it shows. It sounds right and feels right.
Did you have a favorite Disney movie?
I really liked The Jungle Book, and I really liked The Little Mermaid. And I don't know. I guess I'm not sure about favorite, but those are the first two that come to mind. Oh, Sword in the Stone is probably my favorite.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I like I like the pre Little Mermaid sketchy animation. I like when you can see all the lines and stuff, and it started to clean up after that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
you can see
definitely.
a little bit of that in Little Mermaid and those early Disney Rebirth movies or whatever. But like, the cleaner it got, the I don't know, the less like human it feels to me. But so that old stuff. But
the old stuff is great.
the music in The Jungle Book I absolutely loved when I was a kid, and the animation in Sword in the Stone was off the hook.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sword in the Stone, that one's so great. The little King Arthur legend, and he tries to get Excalibur out, and Merlin the wizard turns him into all kinds of animals. So he's like a bird and goes in the ocean, and or maybe not the ocean, but a river or something like that. He turns into a fish.
Madman of Mim.
Yeah. Amazing. So good. Yeah, no, that's great. Do you remember how big of a deal it was in when Beauty and the Beast did the dance, and that like made the nightly news? They're like talking about how impressive the technology was for them to be able to do the dance and Anyway,
it really was.
Loved that one too.
It was epic.
Nowadays
it's kind of funny because it looks. You can just see the two mediums on top of each other. You can see all the computer, like in those big ballroom scenes in Beauty and the Beast. It all looks really computery and fake. The backgrounds and stuff. Compared to back then, it just was super seamless. But now it's like sticks out a little bit, I think. But
interesting. Okay, yeah.
But still amazingly great. It's just that perception changes.
Of course. Should we listen to more David Housden?
Sure.
Yeah. Name me a track. What do you got? What else did you stuck out to you?
One that I thought had kind of a fun. This was a little more quirky, but I liked the melody. Was called "The Library."
Yes.
And also just has a nice, like, a little bit more intimate feel, and I think woodwindy and that kind of thing.
Yeah. If you had to guess who the woodwind player was, not to put you on the spot.
Trying to remember her name.
It's Kristen,
her, though, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Kristen plays it all over. I don't know if she does all of the solo stuff, but she certainly does. Like, there's some tin whistle and stuff like that, and some oboe and or English horn or something. And he talks about her. So yeah. Isn't that great?
That's cool.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. All right. Here's The Library. Like, I don't know if that's her, Right. I don't know if that's her on clarinet. Probably, maybe, I don't know. Anyway. It's so good.
Yep.
Yeah. And do you hear the more chromaticism, all the little like half steps that he does with the melody and, well, harmony too. But yeah. Very cool. Yeah, it makes you smile, and the game is great. And it's co-op, which is fun. So it's 4-player co-op. And the way you heal is you hug each other, which is just so adorable. And there's no combat. It's all, avoidance. You jump around enemies and dodge them in ways. But it's so fun. We should definitely play next time we're hanging out. I never even thought of that the last time I saw you. That would have been fun to show you. But yeah, it's super, super cute. Anyway, all right. I love the darker tracks as well. And there's one called Grazar's Workshop, where he gets to be a little nefarious and like write in a minor key, which is fun because so much of it is happy major music, right?
Right.
So this is Grazar's Workshop. Oh, hang on. Let me make sure I do all the buttons correctly. Pardon me. Here we go. Celesta in the background. That cool. I love that. I love that. And I mean, the other person I left out, which is actually what people say today. So 20 years ago, I would say, if you asked a composer, sweeping sounds, and if they weren't like super classically trained, that's not very fair to say. But I guess they would definitely say Holst, right? Mm-hmm. But then now composers that are so young. And David didn't. This isn't David, right. Although David's fantastic, obviously. But this isn't in reference to him. But a lot of younger composers reference John Williams, right?
Of course, yeah. Which
so
John Williams, as you know, got a lot
was Holst,
for supposedly ripping off Holst, and because he took a lot of arrangements and palettes and ideas and things,
I don't think of it as ripping off, but
I don't either. But if you've never heard the planets, and you're like into Star Wars, and then you hear that music, it's like, hang on a second,
yeah,
like, clearly Star Wars. But,
it's true. Yeah. It's true. There are things, yeah. But yeah. So and that track, because of the celeste and the other things. There are certain things that make me think of Harry Potter, right? Mm-hmm. Which I don't think that John Williams invented those tropes either. You know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah.
And maybe he did, but just the structure and certain aspects of that melody kind of put me in that place too. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't want to leave off John Williams, who, I mean, he's getting up there, man. It stresses me. It stresses me out.
I saw an interview with him the other day about, I forget why. Oh, it was because of the latest Indiana Jones movie or whatever. But yeah, he's just looking really old.
I think he's 90.
Like, oh man,
or 80, 85, or I don't know. Anyway,
somebody download his brain quick.
Yeah, I know. Hurry up, AI. Yeah. Actually, I wonder if AI at this point could make some pretty convincing John Williams. I'm sure someone's already tried.
Yeah, probably. Just good melodies.
Of course. Yeah, I can't imagine how it would do that, but it would nail the I think it would nail certain harmonic things pretty quickly.
Yeah.
From certain films, right? I mean, whatever. Totally other conversation. Did you have another track you wanted to share?
One other one I wrote down I just thought was fun is called Forgotten Farmlands, and it just got whistling in it, which is
the whistling is so good. We talk about that too. I don't want to spoil it, but I definitely asked him about it because I'm a whistler, and I love to fucking whistle to the point that sometimes when the windows are all open, I think maybe I should Maybe I should lay off the
Yeah.
whistling.
Right. The neighbors
Because
are getting you committed or whatever.
yeah, well, and because not everyone likes it.
Oh,
I
well,
mean,
yeah,
some
that
people are
too,
just
yeah.
annoyed by it.
Right.
So whereas I love a good whistle, and my dad's a really good whistler, and that's why. Like I always loved, because he always did vibrato, and I'm like, I just remember asking him one day when I was a little kid, and yeah, it always reminds me of my dad. I love it. So let me find that. So when I interviewed David, I only got 4 tracks, and this was one of them. The library might have been one as well. But here's Forgotten Farmlands, although I probably need to hit the right buttons again. This is a good time for us to think about getting aboard. All right, Forgotten Farmlands. Disney Illusion Island. I'm going to skip ahead to the whistling. Yeah.
Trying to see where it is for you, and it looks like it's close to the end. There it is.
And then when it turns into that waltz,
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah, it's so old school. It's just like,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I went to the wrong timestamp there, and I was like, where? I know it's here.
Yeah.
So then I had to look it up again, and yeah, whatever. Yeah, I loved that. And I love how it does the octave. Like, that is hard to do,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because it's hard to even have a very big range if you think of whatever. Yeah, it's
Right.
a whole,
Whistling.
it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Whistling range. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but no, I loved this music, and really, I say with all honesty, this game is really fun, and it has all the things you want in a platformer that make you want to find every nook and cranny and secret and memento or memory. I can't remember what they call them in the game, but yeah, it's a really fun one. So I highly recommend it. Do you want to say anything else or have any other tracks you want to talk about?
I only wrote down one more, which was Feature Town.
Oh yeah.
If we
Mm-hmm.
want to listen to just a little touch of that.
Sure.
Just because I thought it was another just really fun and good one, and just good example of what we've been talking about this whole time, I guess.
Yeah. Let's hear it. This is Future Town. David Housden is the composer we're talking about. Disney Illusion Island. See, I feel like that's probably Kristen on the English horn.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Like, that's the kind of music that I would play, like, when I was a trumpet player hardcore growing up and well into my 20s. I played in community bands and whatever, all kinds of things. And, you know, that you wouldn't get paid for or whatever. You'd just go because you wanted to play. And you'd play in parks in the summer and whatnot. And you were always playing like armed forces suites. And, you know, this is just like such that kind of music. Like I can just feel it, you know, just sitting there in some pavilion and just a bunch of people sitting out there listening in their lawn chairs with mosquitoes and all the things. I love it. Reminds me of that very much.
Yep. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that music, it makes me feel like I'm at a fair in New York in the 30s.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Just such a pleasure to talk with David again and have him on the show. It had been since 2015, I think. He was one of the early, maybe it was 17.
Okay, because that seems such like crazy long ago than I thought. But
it's been a long time. No, I think it had been 7 years, which means 20 or whatever. God, I don't know. It's been a long time.
He's probably all grown up now, though.
He was then too. But yeah, it's a great fun time. So I look forward to sharing it. We'll share it Friday, and follow us on here, all the things, and find us on Discord. That link will be down in the show notes momentarily. And we look forward to sharing this one with you on Friday. Oh, by the way, check out Instagram. Because we're finally on there after me being years of saying never. Just goes to show the old adage is true. But one of the reasons we're on there is because we had a good idea to be on there for, which is that Sam, who's a very talented artist, cartoonist, graphic artist, whatever you want to call yourself. I mean, why wouldn't you just call yourself an artist instead of I don't know. I guess it is more specific. It lets people know your medium. So maybe that is easier to say. But in any event, you've been taking our logo that we call affectionately Lil Fella and putting him into the environments of the games that we're featuring each week. So I cannot wait to see the Disney one. We post them after the shows come out, but there's a couple of, there's one Oxenfree one up yet. I'm going to put the other one up tomorrow. They're so good. But we just started doing this. The first one we did it with was right after the break, the Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores DLC episode. So those are up on Instagram to enjoy at Level with Emily. That's my final plug for now, and we'll be back here next week at the same time, 3 o'clock Central.